Hi, Mom.
Hi,
How are you?
you. Are we on the mic? Mike?
Might be in a bad spot because you're cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh,
Um, well, maybe not.
keep
Sir,
talking.
say the alphabet: A, B, C, D.
A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P.
Okay, good enough. You may cut out a little bit every now and then, but
Okay.
yes, we're recording. I,
Okay.
I'm trying out some different spots in the house. Um,
Oh.
right now, I'm in a closet, which I already know is going to affect the sound quality of this episode because I'm going to sound echoey. But
Okay.
oh well, we'll figure it out. Um,
Yes, we will.
how are you?
I'm okay. Happy April Fool's Day. I
Yeah,
never dreamed that after 75 years of April Fool's Day that one of them would be a genuine holiday. Do you get it?
yes. Oh my gosh,
All the fools in the world?
there are some. Yeah, like literally, there have been headlines for years now that
Right.
that are like it would be perfect April Fool's headlines. Like if they
Exactly.
were all released on April 1st,
Well,
you'd look
that's my that's my point.
right. You'd look at them and go, "Oh, that can't be true," and it turns out it isn't because people are publishing and posting such all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, our society has reached the place where it's like a cultural breakdown because information that we're getting from the primary source, the media, is no longer reliable. Every day you have to ask yourself, okay, what part of this do I believe? What part of this is disinformation? And how do you sort it all out?
Right. It seems to be coming down to well the global pandemic that has shut down the world and tanked the world's economy. So that thing is literally like a nuclear bomb going off. I mean, it's the exact same effect as if somebody had launched nuclear weapons into some foreign country. It's like, oh, the world is now a different place. Everybody is now suddenly very aware of our own vulnerabilities. Well, not everyone. That's the thing. So it boils down to there are groups of people that get their news from very limited sources. And this is something
Right.
that well, there are people that have one or two news sources that they've trusted their whole lives that, for the most part have just reported on news. Of course, there's always bias and opinion, but
Yeah.
when the bias and opinion is suddenly focused on undermining the success of our the way things function, or when those sources have ulterior motives, and there's some that have overtly said, yeah, we're not a news source anymore, even though news might even be in the name of our company. Our only objective is to basically clickbait. Our only
Right.
objective is to report things that are so salacious and um, uh, spectacular. What's the word? Sensational. Like
Yeah.
sensational, and sensational headlines have always sold newspapers or gotten people to tune in. But
Right.
but when in an information age, when information comes so fast, there's
Right.
this the principle of diminishing returns. It's like, well, when we used to call so and so an I'm going to hesitate to use some of the terms because since this will probably be on YouTube, there's certain words that they will flag because they have
Of
algorithms that
course.
algorithms will listen. So there's a certain bad group out of Germany from 70 years ago.
Yeah.
that, if I start calling people that, it'll get people to read my paper. But when you keep calling people that and they realize, oh, they're not really doing the same things that those people
Yeah.
did, then it has to get more sensational. That it's so diminishing returns means you don't get the same response as before, so you have to keep upping yourself.
Right.
So now the news cycle is literally down to the hour. It used to be, the newspapers were sent across the sea and you get the news from a month ago,
Yeah.
right? And then
Right.
and then telephones. Well, you could get news from a week ago in the print paper, or now you have, news at everybody's fingertips at every moment of every day. So the news cycle is
Right.
accelerated. So,
Well, it's become like the three-legged stool, and the legs are getting kicked out from under us.
right. So when that happens, the things that are there's a verse, all that can shake is going to shake. I don't.
Right.
I'm terrible. I know that's in the
No.
Bible somewhere.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to.
So
I know that scripture.
so all that's going to shake is going to shake. Essentially, when the S hits the fan, or when all hell breaks loose, the the pillars of our society, the things that make our society great, will not shake, and everything that does shake is non-essential, such as a big portion of the news media. Like,
Right.
and well, you got me on one of my
Well,
soapboxes, and I'm trying to bite my
no,
tongue.
that's okay. No, I understand what you're saying. It's important to have that perspective that you just described, because growing sense of panic rises up in people who aren't able to get that perspective. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that panic it feeds on itself across society.
Well, we should. That's it. We launched right into our conversation, which is good, which is what we should do. But I also want to address the viewers, the eventual viewers. So this is not live. This is eventually, hopefully soon, we'll be able to just do this live.
Right.
I started to, or I clicked live stream yesterday on my YouTube channel, and it says, well, you need 24 hours. And then I
Yeah.
realized I didn't want to use that email account because your YouTube channel is associated with a certain email account. So
Right.
I have another email account I've been using for a long time, and I decided to switch over to that yesterday. So when I clicked on that one, it says 24 hours. So maybe by
Oh,
tomorrow or
okay.
Friday we can do this live. But
Okay.
for those who are binge watching our old footage, here you go. The two episodes we already recorded, I uploaded to this YouTube channel already, and they're gonna be viewable tomorrow, because you can
Oh, really?
schedule. Yeah, you can upload and then schedule when those videos come available. So tomorrow, April 2nd, 9 o'clock my time, 11 o'clock your time, is the episode that we recorded on Monday. And then 10 o'clock my time and noon your time will be the episode from yesterday. And then this one, unless this video freezes on me for some reason, this one will also be uploaded to be posted tomorrow, and I'll have it released at 11 o'clock my time, which will be 1 o'clock your time. So tomorrow there'll be 3 videos online,
Great.
and then we'll
Now,
record.
what will be the title of it, or how would I find it?
I'm just calling it Miracle Mom and Michael,
Okay.
0001 0002.
Yeah.
So I'm just naming it the name of the show, and then
Okay.
sequentially, I put 4 zeros so that maybe we can get to 9,999 episodes. Maybe you'll live that long. Maybe I'll live that long. Maybe the internet will still be up that long.
Oh, okay. Well, we do have hope. That's one thing we have.
Yes. And getting back to our topic, let me also say to the potential binge watcher, we will have an email address available soon.
Oh.
And there's also something on live stream. I think I forget what it's called, but it's like a live chat. So if we get to the point where we're doing this live, and say your brother or your nephews and nieces or somebody out there decides to watch it live,
Right.
then we will be able to see numbers, like how many people are
Chat.
watching, and they'll be able to
Right.
chat. They'll be able to text, and we can
Cool.
respond. We can respond live, or we can say at the end of this conversation, we'll go through some of the live chats and give shout outs.
Are you gonna leave comments open or not?
Yeah, I think we'll leave comments open. Since it's a live show, it's fine. If people want to hate, they can hate, whatever. That's the only reason I would not have comments, but
Well,
freedom of speech. We believe in freedom of speech, right?
I will go in to watch with the full armor of God on me. For sure.
Another thing that I was thinking about that I think will be part of the dynamic of this podcast is you and I are both Christians, but there's inevitably going to be people watching this that are not. And
the trolls will show up.
Well, you just called everybody who's not a Christian a troll. Do you realize that? That was Miracle Mom calling you that, not me.
I'm not a troll hater.
No.
I'm a troll identifier.
What I'm saying is there will be friendly people who are not Christians also. So we'll have the haters. There's always haters, but but there will be friendlies. Like there are people that are Jewish that believe much of the same things that we believe,
right.
About the culture and everything, and so that are not Christians. And then even Muslims, I expect there'll probably be some Muslim viewers, and even atheists, probably a lot of atheists. I mean, if this gets any viewership at all, I want to be basically, I want to be the translator. Like you said, you and I have, all Christians tend to have their own language, right? If you spend a lot of time reading the Bible and going to church and hanging out with just Christians, there's a domain of terminology that's common that we all readily recognize. And I don't.
Well, it's a heart language.
Right, and I want that to be a part of this because that's natural. But there will also be times when I'll explain theology. I'll say, well, this is what that means, and this is what this means, and this is an essential doctrine, and this is a non-essential doctrine, and etc. That kind of stuff. So you don't need to bite your tongue, but I may, after you say something at some point, I may do an aside and say, what this means is, for those out there who aren't, even some Christians don't understand all this stuff. So for the benefit of everyone, and that's part of the role I want to play.
Sounds good.
So.
Well, I'm comfortable with that. That's for sure. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, it's happening. This is 3 days in a row, right?
Yeah.
When was the last time? When was the last time you and I spoke on the phone to each other 3 days in a row?
Every day. There was not a time. There's never been a time.
You're right.
Not 3 days in a row.
We've already set a record 3 days in a row talking to each other.
Yes, we have.
All right.
And I got to thinking what I find is nice about this is from the planet.
You cut out. Say it again. Start over.
I started to say, after I'm gone, I'm gone
from
to
the
my
planet.
Heavenly home.
Right.
You've really found a unique way to memorialize listening to your mom again.
Well,
if you know what I mean.
Well, you've actually hit on something that I wanted to mention. Really, some people are going to ask. Some people may ask. I would say people that haven't watched it yet, that hear about it, may ask, why? Why are you doing that? Why are you going to start a podcast? Why are you going to, et cetera, et cetera? And the reason being, my grandfather died when I was, my dad's dad died when I was 22 or 23. And I hadn't spoken to him in a year and a half.
Right.
So when he died and I found out, I got pulled over for drunk driving because I was crying while I was driving.
Oh,
It was
wow.
like I could never speak to him again, and there was so much that I wanted to say, and and I believe that's very. I mean, that is common. It's not a unique thing to me. People, when people die, they're gone, and people have so much regret. And the fact that you had this near death experience, and I realized in that moment when I didn't know if you were alive or dead, like if I was ever going to speak to you again, that if you were still alive, that every moment from that point on was a gift from God to me, to you, but also
Right.
to me. And so that's really the impetus for this. I didn't like the virus hadn't even, we didn't really know about it until late January if you were paying attention. Like if any people that were paying attention knew about it, a lot of people are just figuring it out now. Like February, March, now April. The world has changed and people are realizing something happened. So I wasn't planning this podcast because we're all shut in and we're all going to have more
Right.
time on our hands to watch things. And now I can't go visit my mom, so that. None of that was the impetus for this. Purely the impetus for this was to talk to my mom and get some stories out of her and talk about what's going on in the world today because you're an interesting person, to me at
Well,
least.
the reason I said what I just said is because I remembered what you said that when Phil called you and you heard about me going to the hospital, you suddenly realized you didn't have any information about what was happening to me, but you realized, the potential of that moment being I might not ever be able to speak to my mom again or hear her voice. That's what I'm connecting with this.
Yep.
I thought, what a good way to hear from mom again.
Create It's
If that
creating a record.
comes.
Yeah, creating the
Yeah, right.
an,
People have journals, they have cards, notes, letters that they can go back and read from their parents who are deceased and all that. But to hear someone's voice and have them alive in their voice is special.
every bit of it, like the inflection, the tone.
Right.
When you're reading a person's writing, that's special and is in and of itself. But it's another thing because voices. If you don't have any audio recordings of people who've passed away, your memory fades, like what they sounded like. But now,
And of course, some people do have videos that they've taken
right,
throughout their life that they can go back and look at those videos. But, even a phone conversation is more personal and
yep,
heartfelt.
yep. All right. Well, these ones that I'm pre-recording, I'm trying to keep them under 30 minutes. Yet the previous two were about 24, just over 24 minutes each. But
Okay.
so I will cut this off around the 24-25 minute mark, just so you know.
Yeah.
But let's talk about. You want to talk about any topics? I mean, I could lead with a topic, but do you have anything on your mind that you want to chat about?
I don't know. I don't. It seems like today, in my thoughts, I have really felt sad and frustrated because the reason I'm feeling that way is it's the realization that today you can no longer, it's almost impossible to have a conversation with another person, whether it's a family member, a neighbor, even a stranger at the grocery store, where your alert meter goes off the chart because you don't know how this person is going to respond to whatever the topic of conversation might be.
Yep.
That is just so troubling to me. People are no longer able to just engage in normal, natural, human communication, Mike.
It
makes me angry, sad, and very troubling.
The erosion of the social fabric.
breakdown of the culture, and it feels like, to me, the breakdown of civilization.
Well,
Go.
yeah, trigger, right? Trigger is a word that people have, like dog whistle and trigger are words that people use to, that they're like, careful what you say, it's going to set someone off. There's a trigger word or a dog whistle.
Right.
And in like sci-fi or spy novels or movies, or I think it was the Manchurian Candidate. It's like, here's a spy who's trained to go into another culture and he's going to be controlled by us by feeding him information or whatever, and then he's basically going to go undercover, maybe not even know or remember. That's the thing. He's not even going to remember that he works for us until a certain pattern of words, he sees them or hears them, and it will trigger him and send him on his mission, right? It's like he has
control.
Right. He has a very specific mission, but he doesn't even know it until this information comes out. Well, that's a parallel to what's kind of going on right now. There's a percentage of our country that are triggered, and I don't mean that it was intentionally, wasn't hundreds of millions of people brainwashed by some foreign country and then sent over here. It's we have infiltrated into our culture at every level bad actors, people who are opposed to the success of the United States of America. And then you have a bunch of people in the United States of America that are just fat and happy and comfortable, and we live our lives and we watch the news. But the fact of the matter is, you got to trace the money. Who's paying these news sources? Some people it's not so nefarious as, well, they're financed by this evil empire. Some people they're so already conditioned to hate certain ideologies and certain people that they can't think beyond those essentially nitpicky issues when it comes to issues that are important and imperative to all of us. Like the thing that keeps coming to my mind is stop fighting, stop arguing about, stop looking for disagreement, stop seeking out to take issue with people, and start focusing on agreement.
And where does that come from? Where does that attitude in people come
from? There's a psychologist that I listen to or have listened to. He's been working he was a professor and a practicing clinician for decades. So he's been recording his lectures, etc. And so they're all on YouTube, and I'm not going to name him now. I'm going to avoid proper names of potentially controversial figures at this point, early on. But this guy traces it back. He studied Solzhenitsyn, the Gulag Archipelago. He studied, Russia and mind control and authoritarian autocracies and how they manipulate thought. And I mean, you could trace it back to Goebbels, if you know who that is. He was the propaganda minister in that country that we were referring to 70 years ago. He said, if you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes the truth. Right. So this is a guy who was complicit in massacring millions of people. And he made a statement: if you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes the truth. Well, what he said is true. And he was an evil, evil guy. And so if you even quote him today, people say, why are you quoting that evil guy? Well, even an evil, evil guy can speak truth. And that's the key. People will not listen to truth, even if it's coming out of a source that they oppose. You have to listen to truth wherever it comes from. Don't shut the messenger off if the message is what you're supposed to get. And on that note, Mom, we've just crossed the 25-minute mark. That's a good tease
Okay.
for tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. You got me going.
Sounds good.
I love you.
I love you too. And we will talk tomorrow.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Are you 2 hours behind me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I love you too.
Love you. Bye.
All right. Bye.